So, hello everyone, it's the Cricket Connoisseur here, and welcome to a special preview show for the Bob Willis Trophy, which is all set to kickstart this weekend, Saturday, the 1st of August. So, on today's show, I'm joined by Joe Nuttall of the 22 Yard podcast, and in this show, we're going to be covering all of the bases of this brilliant tournament, which is going to be really interesting, isn't it, this year? No county championship, there's going to be no 50 over cup either. Joe, what are your first thoughts about this tournament then?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say I'm very glad it's called the Bob Willis Trophy.
Yes.
And that's a great tribute to one of England's greatest ever bowlers, one of the greatest ever bowlers in world cricket. And yeah, I think that's brilliant. But yeah, so just about the competition, and I think it's just glad we've got some cricket, really. Some of the rules are a bit strange and different, but I'm just glad we've got some cricket, and I'm really excited about seeing it get underway.
Yeah, definitely. I think every single person who's a county cricket fan is excited, aren't they? Realistically, it's not going to be the same per se. Obviously, no fans in a lot of the games either. But yeah, it's great to see our counties back in action, especially with us two being very, very big county fans. But yes, you alluded to there, Bob Willis Trophy, named after, well, as you said, one of the all-time greats, isn't he, really, Bob Willis? 325 wickets for England. He was a Warwickshire legend as well. Yes, it's a very, very fitting tribute to someone who had a real impact on the game, really. And not only that, he was a fantastic commentator for Sky. He was obviously on the debate as well. He was very funny on the debate. So, yeah, it's a fantastic way to remember such a great player. So, you alluded to there the rules. So, for those who don't know, the ECB have set out some different rules for this tournament, okay? And they've said it's to protect fast bowlers. Obviously, you don't want the workload to be too big. They're coming back from, 9 months? Potentially some of them haven't even played since last season. So, yes, basically these new rules are going to be things such as minimum overs a day is going to be reduced from 96 to 90, which is fair enough. Obviously, you just want it to be a bit more streamlined, don't you, when it's such a small tournament? This is an interesting one. Each county's first innings can only last 120 overs. What do you make of that, Joe?
I guess the only downside is, 120 overs is a long time. Right? It's like it is a very long time. But I guess the only downside, I think, a good example is if you look to Dom Sibley and how he took his time the other day when he scored that 100 at Old Trafford. Like it kind of takes away patient batting, maybe you could argue, but I think generally counties aren't, or teams aren't batting for that long. I don't know how bonus points is going to work because that used to last until 110 overs, so that's basically until the end of the innings now. But yeah, like it's not the end of the world, but it's still a little bit disappointing. I would like the game to go on, and 90 overs in a day. Effectively, you're going to be batting for like each day. You're going to be batting. So it's Lancashire against Warwickshire. It'll be we bat, you bat, we bat, you bat. Effectively, that's how it's going to work, I would say. So it's not the end of the world, I don't think.
Oh, no, definitely not. And as I said, it's because it's to make it a bit more streamlined, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Technically, only a 6-game tournament for the winner.
Yeah.
What was it, 5 group stage matches in the final? So, yeah, I suppose it does make a bit of sense. The one that I would say I'm maybe not in favour of is the follow-on. So the follow-on is no longer 150 runs; it's now 200. So the follow-on's a lot less likely, unfortunately. But yeah, it will be interesting to see, obviously, how everything plays out. And I forgot to mention about the new ball as well. Instead of every 80 overs, it's going to be at the end of every day. So yeah, there'll be a new ball for days 2, 3, and 4, which will be interesting. With regards to the bonus point, I think that is working the exact same. As you said, it's just going to be from till the end of the innings, realistically. Yeah. But yes, now let's focus on the actual groups themselves. So for those who don't know, it's split into 3 groups. You've got the North group, which has got Derbyshire, Durham, Lancashire, Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire, and Yorkshire in it. You've got the Central group, which is where my team, Warwickshire, are in. You've got Warwickshire, Worcestershire, Somerset, Northamptonshire, Gloucestershire, and Glamorgan. And finally, in the South group, you've got Essex, Kent, Hampshire, Sussex, Middlesex, and Surrey. So it's going to be very interesting because everyone's grouped together. A lot of these teams wouldn't have necessarily faced each other. I mean, from personal experience, the last time that we played Worcestershire in county championship cricket was 2015. So it's brilliant for any Warwickshire and Worcestershire fans. We finally have a derby. Maybe more so for Warwickshire fans, because I think the last time we played and we beat them by, I think it was an innings. So, yeah, good memories for Warwickshire fans in 2015. That's the one where Yorkshire won, though, unfortunately. But yes. So with regards to the groups, let's break it down. We'll start with your team's group first. I think Joe, the North group. It's a very strange group, the North group. Because you've got 4 Division 2 sides and 2 Division 1 sides. So first things first, who do you think is going to win the North group?
I'm not just being biased here. I'd like to clarify that I'm a Lancashire fan, and I honestly think Lancashire will win that group. I think it's going to be between ourselves and Yorkshire. But yeah, I think Lancashire will get over the line. On paper, we are very, very neck and neck in terms of strength. But you know, I just believe in us. Really, I think we will win the group effectively. So yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I do think Yorkshire are going to give you a very, very good challenge, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won it.
No, that's fair enough. The way we bowled last year, though, and if you think we score runs right down the order, Dame Willis, who batted 7 at times for us, scored 1,000 runs, which is, you know, great. I mean, read into that what you will about our top order, but still, we clearly score runs down the order. So yeah, I think we've got a very, very good chance of winning the group.
Well, as you've just alluded to there, Dane Villas, wonderful player for Lancashire, obviously your captain as well. So let's talk about the batsmen first, okay? Obviously, a quite strong group in terms of batting. Who do you think are going to be the top 3 run scorers in that group?
Wow.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of good batsmen in this group. I think in order, am I doing it, or just the top 3?
If you want to do it in order, you can.
No,
you don't necessarily have to, though.
I'll just say 3 batters. So I think Dave Villas will be in there.
Good choice.
I think.
Obviously, been on the podcast, so yeah, big up to him.
I think he will. Yeah, I think he's going to have another great year. He's sort of Mr. Reliable for Lancashire. You know, if we're sort of, I don't know, 50 for 4, 60 for 4, he comes in, scores 100, easy, and then we'll go from there, really. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to be in there. Who else do I think? I think Tom Collar-Cadmore's going to have a good year.
Yeah, TKC definitely. I'll put him in there, 100%.
Yep. He's going to have a really, really good year. Can score runs at the top of the order or in the middle order, and yeah, I think he's going to be very valuable to Yorkshire this year.
I have got a question about Tom just before you move on to your third one, because obviously Yorkshire signed Dad Milan. Now Milan had a decent season in red ball cricket for Middlesex. Where do you think Collar-Cadmore's going to slot in? Do you think they'll keep him as an opener with Adam Live, or do you think they could push him down the order?
So I think most likely he's going to open. Mm-hmm. Lancashire and Yorkshire just played a friendly last week, 2-day friendly, and Darren Milan didn't play because he was injured, and neither did Gary Balance. So Yorkshire's batting order wasn't quite what it is normally, but Collar-Cadmore did open in that, and he got 50. So you know, he didn't go in and get a massive score, but he got a really, really good start, a strong start. So I can see him opening, to be honest. With Adam, I think they form a good partnership. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not playing him this year either. He always seems to turn up against Warwickshire.
And yeah, the third batter. This is a bit of a.
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, I think it's going to be Hasib Hamid. I would have loved to see him score runs. I would have loved to see him score runs. I really would. And maybe I'm just saying that because I want him to score runs. But I think he is going to, and I think he's going to do really, really well. So yeah, I would say Hasib Hamid. There's so many other great batters in this group. From Notts, from Lancs, from Yorkshire, from Durham. You could argue Alex Lees goes in there.
Yes, yeah, Alex Lees, brilliant.
I mean, it's really, really hard to choose. And yeah, I will say Hamid just because I would love to see him score runs, and that is more the reason. But I do think he's going to have a good year as well. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think every single kind of county fan wants Hamid to finally kick on, don't we? We saw so much promise in 2016. And yeah, I mean, I've said it before, I said it on your podcast, Joe, this is almost like, it's not a redemption year, but he can really learn from Nottinghamshire. They've got some brilliant experienced batsmen, they've got some county veterans, they've got a good coaching set up. Yeah, I just think for him, it is going to be a big year. Whether or not he'll be top run scorer, I'm not sure. But yeah, either way, I think it'll be an excellent experience for him. In my opinion, I think for Notts, I'll probably go Nash, if I'm being honest. Purely because of experience.
Good shot. Yeah.
He was quite good for them last season, actually. So I'll probably go Chris Nash. But yeah, not a bad choice. So moving on to the bowlers, again, quite tough. Stacked again. Who would you go with as your top 3?
Bowler. This is a hard one. This is a really, really hard one. Of course, someone actually who we overlooked for the batting is actually Hassan Hazard as well.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, has,
Been on
yeah.
both of our podcasts, but yeah.
Over
Anyway,
1,000
back to
runs,
the
yeah, 1,100 runs in Division 2 last
exactly.
year, yeah.
Yep. But back to the bowling. Again, this is a really, really hard choice, as I said. This is so tricky, isn't it? I will say, I just can't choose. I think Callum Parkinson's going to have a good year. I think he's going to have a really good year. I don't know if he's necessarily going to finish the #1 wicket taker in the group, but I think he's going to certainly be there or thereabouts. I think he's going to have a really good year. So I'll put him up there. A bit of an out there choice now. I don't know if he's actually even going to play because I don't know if he's a Kolpak or an overseas. But Ravi Rampal, I think
He should be Derbyshire, yeah. I think he's playing on a Kolpak.
Yep. So I think he is going to do well. I think he's a really, really underrated player. He did really well in white ball cricket last year.
Yeah, 23, 24 wickets, didn't he?
Yeah, he got a lot of wickets. But I think in red ball cricket, he's going to do well this year. Obviously shortened, so getting on a little bit. So hopefully his body will be able to handle the 30 days of cricket in the group. So it's not as bad. And some of those days he won't actually be doing anything if he doesn't bat. So I think Ravi Rampal and who else? I'm trying to think.
What about Lancashire players? What about Gleeson and Onions?
Yeah, well, the Onions, there's a shout. Onions. See, that's the thing. A lot of our good bowlers are going off to play for England. Gleeson, Mahmood, Parkinson, if he's fit. I'll say Tom Bailey. I think Tom Bailey's going to have a good year. He's just been consistent, really, really good the last few years. So I think Tom Bailey's actually going to have a really, really good year. He had one season 2 years ago. He got 60 wickets in Division 2, which was great. So I'll say Tom Bailey.
I'll throw in Duan Olivier for Yorkshire.
Oh, yeah,
might as well. Brilliant. He's got a fantastic bouncer. I mentioned it earlier. He got 40? I think he got 42 or 43 wickets in 14 games for
good return
for Yorkshire last year. So I'll probably throw him into the mix as well. I think that's, as I said, it's quite tough. It is quite tough with the North group.
Yeah,
I've got some decent players in there. And finally, the young guns. Okay, so we'll say under 25s. I'm guessing Hamid is going to be in your ones to watch. But which players are you really looking out for to almost use this year as a development year?
Yes, I'll say Hamid, as you've said. We've talked a lot about him.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's any more that needs to be said. I think Ben Mike's going to have a good year. He went on loan to Warwickshire, of course, last year.
He did. He was good as well. Ben Mike got 50.
Yep. I think he can bowl a bit as well. He can bat. I think he's a good all-round cricketer. And I think he's going to have a good year. So I'll say him. And I think Rob Jones from Lancashire is going to have a really interesting one. There's a couple actually from Lancs. There's Rob Jones, there's Josh Bohannon. There's a couple. But I'll say Rob Jones. I just think he's a great player. Another player, George Balderson.
England yes. He was good as well. Player. He was good in South Africa. Yeah.
He scored runs for Lancashire in a few friendlies, and I think he's a shout. So actually, I'll go with Balderson. He's definitely going to play this year because he's been playing in every single friendly. So I'm fairly sure he'll play. So I'll go with Balderson.
Yeah, good choice. In terms of my ones to watch, I'll definitely go Hamid. If not anything, it's the road to redemption, isn't it? I think it's going to be interesting to see if this fresh start will really kickstart him again. Finn Hudson-Prentice, I have to say him purely because he just burst onto the scene. He got a century last year in red ball cricket. So he's going to be one I think might kick on, especially in that number 3 role that he's been playing for the Falcons. And my third one, Callum Parkinson is one to watch because he's a very wily spinner, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it. Scott Steele as well from Durham. He's a very good batsman.
Yep.
My final one, though, will be Jack Shutt from Yorkshire, the spinner.
Yeah.
He's really impressed me. Yeah. And if he can transfer the white ball form over to red ball, they could have quite a good player there, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So, moving from the north, we move into the Midlands. My domain, Warwickshire's group. So, we'll start with who do you think is going to win? Who do you think will win the central group? It's quite a strong one.
Yeah, this is a strong group. So as much as I'm sure you want me to say it, I'm not going to say Warwickshire. Not because I don't rate Warwickshire's side. I think it's actually a strong side if everyone's fit. But I've got to say Somerset, really.
That's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, I've got to say Somerset because, I mean, they had a great season last year. Just pipped to the title by a great Essex side, a phenomenal Essex side, I'm sure we'll talk about later. And yeah, I've got to say Somerset. I just think they're a brilliant side.
Yeah, begrudgingly, I think Somerset are probably going to win it. With that being said, though, I think we're going to put up a fight. I do think the Bears are going to be, and it is a massive if, because we saw last season what happens when they aren't fit, and we had to keep on getting in loan players and bringing the youth academy prospects up. But I just think with Warwickshire's bowling attack, you look at the seam attack of Ollie Stone, Henry Brooks, Hannon Dalby. We've got Liam Norwell, who was fantastic against Somerset in Taunton last year. Craig Miles is another one. George Garrett coming through the ranks. Ethan Brooks coming through the ranks.
Henry Brooks.
Yeah, but that's his brother.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Henry and Ethan.
Yeah. But if he plays Henry Brooks,
that's a very good point. Yeah, hopefully he'll play for England. But and then obviously the foundation of the bowling attack is Jitan Patel, 64 wickets in last year's County Championship Division 1. So I think realistically, as much as the heart wants to say Warwickshire, and I think we'll put up a good fight, the head ever so slightly says Somerset, unless we can get a result against them. I think if we could beat them, and it's a big if and a big ask, but I reckon if we could beat Somerset, I think we could go on. And right, let's move into the batsmen then. We'll start off with the batsmen again. Who are your top three in the central group, Joe? Who do you think is going to be the top three batsmen?
I think you already know who I'm going to say for the first one. Somehow
there should be England player, yeah.
Yeah, I genuinely cannot understand why he's not in the squad. But it's got to be Sam Hain. He's a phenomenal player. Been on my podcast, which is great. He's a really, really good guy, and he's a great cricketer. And I just cannot, for the life of me, understand why he's not in that. At least in the reserves, if anything. I don't even know why he's not in that.
Honestly, Joe, if we don't want the podcast to be like 3 hours long, because I would go on about Sam Hain. He honestly, I am still absolutely perplexed how he's not in the ODI squad. And even in the Red Bull team, 385 runs last year at a 77 average, including a 400 ball century, which saved us against Hampshire at the Ageas Bowl. I don't understand how he's not even close to selection. I don't understand what Ed Smith and Taylor are looking at. But for me, I agree with you on that one. Who else then do you think will be a big name in the group?
Wow, there's a lot of good. It's a really, really hard choice. I think Billy Root's got to be in there.
For Glamorgan,
he's a great player. Scored a lot of runs last year. When Marnus sort of left Glamorgan, of course he was there overseas. When he left Glamorgan to go and play in the Ashes, Billy Root really stepped up and scored a lot of runs. So who did he got a double 100 against someone? I think it was Derbyshire he got a double 100 against.
Yes.
Or it might have been Northants. It was either
it was a Midlands team, wasn't it? Yeah, it was one of the two.
He scored runs, a lot of runs anyway. I think he's going to do well. And Chris Dent, I would probably have to say.
I'd agree.
Yeah,
I'd definitely agree.
Those three are probably strong. Somerset have a lot of good batters as well. Tom Abel's one. But yeah, I think those three for me is who I would say. Yeah,
I would go, obviously, Sam Hain. I think, again, he's going to put in a good shift. He was brilliant for the Lions in their recent tour to Australia. Again, I can't sing his praises enough. He's a fantastic batsman and needs to be in the England team, in my opinion. But in addition to Sam Hain, Tom Abel, I think he'll have a fantastic season for Somerset. And not only that, without Babar Azam, I think the onus is really going to be on him to perform this season. Yeah. He had a very good year last year with the bats. I think he was their leading run scorer in Red Bull cricket, actually. So he'll be up there. And you've already mentioned him, Chris Dent. The guy just gets runs, doesn't he? Just seems to have this innate ability to accumulate runs. So, yes, we'll go with Gloucestershire's Chris Dent for the third and final one. So, swiftly moving on into the bowlers. Again, it's going to be quite tough to choose three from a very strong group. Yeah.
If he stays fit, I've got to say Ollie Stone.
Yes, good choice.
If he's genuinely,
it is a big if.
It is a massive if. Yeah, it is a massive question mark, but he's got to be in there. Who else? Benny Howell could go in there.
Yeah, from Gloucestershire.
Ben Sanderson.
Oh yeah.
Ben Sanderson. Yeah, I would probably. I'll put Howell in. He's going a bit under the radar with the ball. I'll put Howell in there. Why not? I think he's going to have a good year.
Fair enough. I would go Stone purely because of that extra pace, and it's a shame that we have to say if, but hopefully he does. I genuinely wish him the best of luck with his fitness, because if he can, he's one heck of a player. In addition to Stone, it's a tough one with the central group.
Really
because
is.
you've mentioned Sanderson. Sanderson's a bona fide wicket taker. He has been for a few seasons with Northants now. So I think he's going to be in there. You've got Michael Hogan from Glamorgan. He's very good. You've got Ed Barnard. You've got Charlie Morris from Worcestershire. It's a really tough one. In my opinion...
I know who we're missing. G-Town.
You've just took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say G-Town Patel with his 64 wickets. I was going to set that up quite nicely for saying maybe Ryan Higgins, but yes, obviously we'll go G-Town. In his final season for the Bears, obviously needs to go out all guns blazing, in my opinion. He's been absolutely magnificent, and for me personally, who's been watching G-Town for the last 11 years, 12 seasons in a Bears shirt, I really want him to go out well. So I think he might actually be the leading wicket taker, because G-Town, when he's in a corner or he's in a tough situation, he's at his best. So I think G-Town will come up trumps on that one. So I think G-Town top, Ben Sanderson second. I'd hope Stone was third, but in addition to that, you've also got the Somerset bowlers. You've got the Overtons, you've got Gregory, Leach as well. Yeah, Leach if he doesn't play for England. Yeah, it's going to be very good. But I'll go G-Town, Sanderson, and Stone / Overton. And I'll make that
fair enough.
Great, Craig. We'll go Craig Overton over Jamie slightly. And again, finally, young guns. Who are the three most talented young players that you expect to have quite a big tournament?
So I would say Ben Curran, firstly.
Northants, very good choice.
I think he's a very, very good player. Sort of been in the shadow of his brothers, but again, a great player, in his own right. And I think he's going to have a good year. Trying to think who else. I like Adam Hose.
So do I.
I think he's a good player.
For obvious reasons. Yes.
I really like it. I mean, I probably couldn't class Sam Hain as a young gun, right? He's under 25, isn't he?
He's too good.
No? Okay.
You don't need to put him as a young gun. He's
no fair
no
matter
his age. Yeah.
Well, I'll say Adam Hose. I really rate him. I think he's a good player. And I'm trying to think what bowlers there are. It's hard, There's a lot of good young players. Miles Hammond's one. I know he's not a bowler, but Miles Hammond's one.
Yes, from Gloucestershire.
Yeah, I'm probably missing. So, I mean,
I'll go through my list. We'll start with the Warwickshire ones first. I've already mentioned a couple. Henry Brooks could be an interesting one. If he can tighten up his line length in red ball cricket, I think it'd be very interesting. George Garrett. He burst onto the scene last year. His first class wicket was Babar Azam, trapped in LBW at Edgbaston, which was just insane. Very good crowd reaction to that as well. And from the players, it was just a very nice moment. You've mentioned Adam Hose. I think a really interesting one for me, and he's going to make my top three, is Rob Yates. So for those who don't know, Rob Yates is a young batsman. He was in our middle order last year, but we've played him up the top of the order in these friendlies. He got quite a number of runs against Worcestershire in yesterday's friendly. And I think, given the void that Dom Sibley, we're missing 1,324 runs at an average of 69.68. So that's going to be quite big.
Doesn't know the numbers by heart.
Yeah, of course. When I was trying to advocate for Sibley from the 24th of July last year, that's the amount of time I've been trying to get Sibley in the England team. You remember those kind of things. But moving on from that, yes, I think Yates is going to have a big year for Warwickshire. It's going to be integral that he gets some runs. So I'd put him in my top three. You've mentioned Miles Hammond. I think he's going to have a very good year. I watched him at the Cheltenham Cricket Festival last year against Middlesex. Got a wonderful technique. Got a good conversion rate as well. He seems to kick on, Miles Hammond, which is obviously a wonderful trait to have for any young batsman. And my third one, it's a toss-up for me because you've got George Bartlett, who was Somerset's, I think he was their second leading run scorer last year, scored over 700 runs, was a brilliant number 6, scored 50 against us last year. And I think he's really going to kick on. And in addition to him, well, it's a tough one. It is a tough one because we mentioned him in your podcast, Dan Douthwaite from Glamorgan,
Oh
I
yeah,
think he might be an interesting one because again, if he can find some consistency, he could be an integral part of Glamorgan's team as well.
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's a tough one. I think I'll go Bartlett, Hammond, and Yates purely because I think people won't really have heard of them.
Yeah.
But are there any young bowlers as well for you, Joe? Who do you think
So
other
I'm
than
trying to
Brooks?
think.
Yeah,
Had someone in mind, but I've completely forgot.
you've got Blessing Mazarabani from Northants, the
Yeah,
young
yeah,
Zimbabwean
that's a very
seamer.
good
He's
shout.
very good.
Brandon Glover. Although I mean, we said like he might not play as much red ball cricket, but if he does get involved, then he may be a good player. I
But
don't.
he appeared in the friendlies, so
Yeah,
yeah, I
he's a good
imagine
shout.
he could play Brandon Glover from the
Um,
Netherlands. Yeah.
what about from Somerset? There's a lot. There's a lot
Oh,
of different young
Lammonby,
bowlers.
Tom Lammonby.
Oh, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a really good player. But yeah,
Yes, that's I mean, all
it's a lot.
it's quite good though. Obviously, for us
Yeah,
as
for
English
sure.
cricket fans, it's good to have
Have
lots of people
so
to
many
choose
young
from.
talent. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and a big up Prem Sasodia as well from Glamorgan. I think he might also kick on this year, hopefully. But moving on to the third and final group, the South group, and can we just say what a first round of fixtures? You've got Middlesex versus Surrey, you've got Kent versus Essex, and the third and final one, which we know affectionately as El Clasicost, Hampshire versus Sussex. Who do you think is going to win that group? Because that is packed to the brim. When you think about Division 1 last year, you've got the top four in that group. Who do you think is going to win
It's crazy.
and come out on top?
I've got to say Essex. I've already alluded to it a little bit of how good they were.
Well, they're incredible, weren't they?
Yeah, they're top order.
Home and away,
I mean,
that's the other thing.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Alistair Cook, Sir Alistair Cook, Nick Brand,
knighthood.
Tom Wesley, and Dan Lawrence. That is a great top four. Varun Chopra doesn't even get into that, and that is incredible. I mean, I don't know how much Cook's going to be available, but yeah, I've got
my former captain.
Yeah, I've got to say Essex. I have to say Essex.
Fair enough. I think it's going to be close though. Essex and Hampshire. I think they're going to be two really jostling for that top spot. Kent are also going to put in another good shift, I think. And again, realistically, we keep on saying it's tough. This is by far the toughest because you've got four top class Division 1 sides, and then even the Division 2 sides in Sussex and Middlesex got some great young players coming through. So,
absolutely.
Who would make your top three? Honestly, you've got so much batting talent in that South group.
I've got to say Dan Lawrence. I mean, he could easily be my ones to watch.
Fair comment.
I've got to say Dan Lawrence. I think he's a great player. Who else? Alistair Cook, if he plays. I mean, realistically, he is England's greatest ever batsman in Test cricket. And if he every single game, he's going to go to the side. So I would put Alistair Cook in. And who else? There's a lot. I don't know if he's going to play much, but I think Sam Billings may have a good year.
From Kent?
Yeah. I don't know how much he's going to be involved with England, but I think he might kick on in red ball cricket. He did well last year. He scored a few hundreds. Remember, he scored 100. He might have got 200s actually at Headingley in the same game. But yeah, I think Sam Billings is going to have a good year if he plays. So yeah.
Interesting choice. For me, my top three in the South group is a tough one. I think Daniel Bell-Drummond from Kent, because he's just a magnificent one, flies under the radar far too much in my opinion and deserves a lot more credit for what he does. In addition to Daniel Bell-Drummond, Sam Northeast from Hampshire, he's integral. Him and Russo formed quite a nice partnership last year for Hampshire. So I think Sam Northeast is going to be one to get a lot of runs. And the third and final one is ridiculously tough. It really is. I mean, Surrey have got some great batsmen. You've got Stoneman, you've got Borthwick, you've got Folkes.
Borthwick, yeah.
I think I'll have faith in Mark Stoneman, the former England player. We'll go Mark Stoneman, I think, as the third and final one. But again, some great batsmen. And moving on to the bowlers, this is just even harder because you've got in this group, you've got at least 10 players who are in the top. What was it, 20 wicket takers in both division last year? So it was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, Sam Harmer's got to be in there for me.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
He's a
83
player.
Wickets last year's championship.
That's just in championship. He took a load of wickets in T20 and in the one day as well.
Yep.
So yeah, he's got to be in there for me. there's so many good bowlers. I think an underrated person is Miguel Cummins. I'm not saying he's
The
going to go in my top
Colpack
three.
player from Middlesex.
Yeah,
The
I
St.
think he.
Vincentian.
I think he
That's an
could
interesting one.
make a late dash into the leading wicket takers
But yeah, but will he,
chart.
with all due respect to Miguel Cummins, will he surpass the likes of Kyle Abbott's, Harry
True.
Podmore, Darren
True.
Stevens, for
Oh
example?
yeah, Kyle Abbott. He's got to go in there. Miguel,
Yeah.
I just think Miguel Cummins is an underrated. He could get into that. It's an underrated choice. Toby Rowland-Jones is one, but I actually think Tim Murtagh is going to go into there. I just think this competition is made for him, especially
Definitely.
at Lords. Yeah, I think Tim Murtagh is going to go into that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. My top three personally, I've already said them, Harmer, Abbott, and I think Harry Podmore from Kent, to be honest. I think he's going to have a very, very strong season.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, very, very strong. And finally, the ones to watch. Doesn't get any easier, does it?
There's so many different players. So yeah, I would say Dan Lawrence, but I think he's past that point. Similar with Sam Hayden now. He's like an established player. Who would go in my ones?
Would you like mine first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so first one, Amar Birdie, without a shadow of a doubt. Surrey, he needs to keep fit though, a bit like Ollie Stone, because he took a magnificent 8 for 60 against Nottinghamshire at Trent Bridge in last season's championship. Got some lovely flight, got a bit of turn and grip on the surface as well at Trent Bridge, which is not an easy thing to do. So yes, definitely Amar. If he stays fit, I think he's going to have a very good Bob Willis trophy. In addition to him, someone who I think we don't really talk enough about is Tom Helm from Middlesex.
Yeah,
he's only 25, and he's just a wily character. I'm not necessarily saying he's going to light the world on fire, but many people seem to overlook him. So I'd go Tom Helm as well. And my third and final one for ones to watch would be Delray Rawlins from Sussex.
Yeah.
Someone who has bags of potential. He's from Bermuda, had a pretty good T20 qualifier. I know it's a completely different format. But in terms of his fundamentals and his technique, he's a very classy player. He can score runs for fun. And in my opinion, I think he could use this season to kick on into next year's county championship. So those would be my top three. I guarantee I've missed some. Do you have anybody else in mind, for example, Joe?
Yeah, well, I'm going to put him in the ones to watch because we missed him after bowling. And that is Ollie Robinson. I cannot believe you forgot him.
From Sussex, of course, yeah.
I cannot believe you forgot him. So I'll just put him in the ones to watch. And then there is someone from Surrey. And I cannot remember. Oh, there's Jamie Smith. I think Jamie Smith is a very, very good player. He broke through like last season. And I think he's a really, really good player. So he will probably go in. And yeah, I would have to agree with you I agree with all of yours. Any one of yours could also go in that. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Definitely. I'm just trying to think of anyone else. Will Jacks from Surrey. Another very good young player. Who else would I put in there from the South group? We haven't really mentioned anyone from Hampshire. Anya Donald or Nyrin Donald. Good young batsman. I think he's about 23, 24. Yeah, it's gonna be a very, very good group.
It is.
And not only that, opening weekend as well is going to be absolutely incredible.
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
And yes, I did want to know your predictions. Who do you think is going to win those 3 games?
I mean, you've got to see the. I'm going to say Surrey will be Middlesex. I will say that Essex will be Kent, and Hampshire and Sussex are going to draw.
Bold. That's bold. Do you think El Clasico is going to be a draw?
I do.
Interesting.
Why not?
I agree with you about Surrey.
Yeah.
Kent Essex.
That's going to be a tough game. I'm going to back Essex in that. I just think they're formidable. Obviously, they've lost Para, but I just think they're too good.
Kent could have Super Joe Denley though.
True.
But they won't have Crawley.
It's
going to be an interesting one. I think that one's going to be the draw, and I think Hampshire will beat Sussex.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But yes, here's an interesting one. This is predictions aside. We'll obviously get a final prediction for the winner of the tournament in a second. But let's talk about fans for a second, because the ECB has said that the majority of the tournament is going to be behind closed doors. We've also got some venue changes. I mean, for example, your team's match, Lancashire versus Leicestershire, is going to be played at New Road in Worcester instead of Grace Road in Leicester due to local lockdown. Do you think at any stage in this tournament we'll see fans at every single ground?
Definitely not every single ground, purely because Old Trafford and a GS Bowl will probably be. Well, Hampshire haven't played a single game. Well, actually, they are. Where they play? They're playing at Arundel, aren't they? So fans might go there, but I think especially at outgrounds, that's going to be trickier to manage because it's effectively a club ground. So I think that might be tricky. I think at test grounds it will be a lot easier. You think of fans have been into Edgbaston and the Oval. I think Headingley will probably look to do that, and Trent Bridge, and obviously, other non-test match venues will also try and do it. So I think we could potentially see it, but there will be certain grounds, especially if you're playing at outgrounds, as Hampshire are. I don't think we'll see any fans there.
Same with Lancashire as well. Are they going to be playing
we're playing one game at Old Trafford. We got one game at Egbert in Liverpool. So.
Oh, nice. I don't know if you've it is. It's a nice ground.
Really
I haven't been obviously for a game, but I've seen it. It's a lovely ground.
Yeah, it's a lovely ground.
It's got a nice little pavilion, hasn't it? Quite old style.
Yeah, really old, like black and white pavilion. So it's lovely.
I agree with that. Yeah, that should be quite nice. But it's going to be a strange one, isn't it? Obviously, without fans. Just thinking of this weekend's fixtures, Surrey are obviously going to have some fans. Warwickshire, well, I'm going to be one of them for the Northants game. So that'll be something quite interesting. But I do hope that at some point some more counties get to do it. Because obviously, look at Derbyshire and Leicestershire, for example, and Essex, who are on the lower end of the financial scale. They need fans, don't they, realistically?
Yeah.
So if it can be delivered in a safe and secure, but biosecure environment, I think hopefully at one point we'll see some more fans. And yes, I wish people best of luck with obviously getting to see their local counties. But to wrap up the show, Joe, let's end on the big one, okay? Only 2 teams get to the final. This is something we forgot to mention. It's only the top 2 teams in terms of points scored. So it's not going to be one from the central, one from the north, one from the south. It's going to be the top 2 from all 3 combined. So first of all, who do you think is going to make the final? And second of all, who do you think will win the trophy?
Well, I'd like to say Lancashire are going to make the final. Not that I think we're going to win it. That's the thing. It's so hard to predict. I think Essex are definitely going to make it.
Bold.
And I think, between the so many, I'm going to say Lancashire just because I can't pick out of the central group. So I'll say Lancashire. I was thinking Somerset, Warwickshire could also make it maybe, but I'll say Lancashire. But honestly, I just think Essex are going to win the Bob Willis Trophy. It would be lovely to see Warwickshire win it from a Bob Willis perspective. But
of course.
I think Essex are going to win it. I think it'll be Lancashire Essex final, but Essex are going to win just because they are such a strong side. So that's my prediction.
Wouldn't just be nice from obviously the trophy perspective, but also Tim Ambrose and Gitan are going to be retiring unfortunately at the end of the season. But yes, obviously the heart says Warwickshire. You never know. We could spring something together. Realistically, I think the winner of the North, purely because when you factor in, you've got 4 Division 2 sides. On paper, and I know cricket isn't played on paper, it's played on a pitch, but on paper it is the easiest group. You've got 4 lower ranked sides and two much better sides.
Yeah.
I think the second finalists will be Somerset or Essex. If not Warwickshire, you never know, we could do it if the bowling attack stays fit.
So who from the North group?
See, that's the problem. It's going to be Lancashire or Yorkshire.
Yeah.
And I think it's whoever wins the Roses Derby. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
I am confident for.
You're confident about the Roses Derby? Really?
I've got
a fantastic team though. Kola Cadmore, Live, Milan if he's fit, Balance if he's fit as well. That is a big if.
We also have a fantastic team. I've got a backers. It's going to be interesting.
If you had Watling, if you had Faulkner and Maxwell, I'd say Lancashire.
If we had Livingston.
But for me, exactly. For me, I just think Yorkshire, with that squad depth, I think they might just take it. But I think it's going to be an interesting match. Obviously, can't wait for that one. That's going to stand out, as is the Bears versus Pairs one. The first time we played each other in first-class cricket since 2015. And yes, just a reminder to any Worcestershire fans watching this. The last time you played Warwickshire, what was it? At New Road. Warwickshire won by an innings and 17 runs, which included a lovely 203-ball century from soon-to-be Surrey and Bell. So, yeah, should be interesting. First time in 5 years that we're going to be playing each other in Red Bull cricket, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But yes, that pretty much wraps up the show, Joe. All that's left for me to say is thank you very much for coming on. Have you got any social media, your podcast to promote, for example?
So first of all, thanks for having me. It's been really great. And yeah, you can check out my podcast, 22 Hours Cricket Podcast, on Podbean and some are on Spotify, but had a few issues there. So check it out on Podbean. Just search 22hours.podbean.com and it should come up. But yeah, thanks again for having me. It's been great to come on.
No problem, Joe. As I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on today. And yes, wish you the best of luck with the podcast. And to all of those who've tuned in to today's preview show, thank you very much for watching. And as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your day.